Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Angelica, and this 3-part series is going to be all about our recent van trip to the Southwest. It's finally time to show you the park that inspired this whole trip. Initially, we actually wanted to start our trip in Zion, but we decided to reverse the route to let the weather be a little warmer for while we were there. First things first, I'll be honest and say we had a tricky time entering the park. Not sure if we were sleepy or thrown off by the hustle and bustle of other hikers lining up to get their rental gear outside the Zion Outfitters, but we entered Zion on the east side, which is a totally legitimate entrance, but we somehow missed the sign for the visitor center parking, even though we were already in the park, and we ended up exiting the park and then getting confused with street parking and seeing signs for you have to pay parking, and we were like, what the heck? We've already been to these parks and the pass should cover our parking. Needless to say, we dilly-dallied for about an hour, even though we woke up nice and early to get to the park early enough in order to get a good parking spot to make breakfast like we had done every other time. I'll stop rambling, but eventually we just went back into the park, even though there were signs saying parking lot full. We just said, F it, we're gonna go for it anyway. And we ended up getting super lucky, and since we were in a van, we were able to park in the RV section, even though the car parking lot was full. So we really lucked out in the nick of time there. Once we were finally settled and had parked, we had our breakfast, we got our bearings, we took it easy. We applied for our first Angel's Landing lottery permit, and then we figured out how to take the shuttle to where we wanted to go hiking for the day. Since we sadly didn't win the daily lottery to hike that same first day at Angel's Landing, and we also realized that we needed a permit to hike the subway, which was one of our other top hikes that we wanted to do, we made the most of the day and we ended up settling for a combination of a bunch of smaller trails, which were the Grotto Trail and the trails around the Emerald Pools. I think we saw the upper, middle, and lower ones. And that totaled to 6 kilometers of hiking for the day, which wasn't a lot, but it was still just nice to take it easy and tour around the park for the first day and get our bearings and such.
Alrighty. Good job. Did you enjoy your shower?
Oh yeah, very good.
I need everyone to wear their face mask, please. I need you to wear your face mask. Yes, thank you. So, they also do the passenger statement. We don't stop really down with this stuff. But it is right in front of us as we walk up here. And stop it again. So, we're up there.
After seeing the pools, the sun was nice and hot, so we decided to get adventurous and go check out the Narrows. Earlier in the day, we decided against this hike because the water was said to be up to your chest, and it was going to be like, I think it was like 4 degrees Celsius or something crazy like that. To get to the Narrows, you walk on this really easy trail called the Riverside Trail, which is about 1 kilometer or so to where the Narrows starts. From the trailhead, we were able to see plenty of people hiking without waders, and it was probably, I don't know, sometime after 12 at this point, so the sun was out, it was nice and hot, we were already warmed up from hiking during the first part of the day, so we got inspired to walk a little bit. To be honest, Kevin really had to convince me to do this. Something about my mindset that day, I just really didn't want to get my feet wet, let alone get cold in the water or something. I just was not mentally prepared for a hike in the water. But I'll show you some pictures of what Kevin took as he hiked further along without me. I ended up stopping and going back to the trailhead and waiting for him while he hiked about like another 3 kilometers in or so, I think he said. After finally reuniting and getting cell service back at the visitor center, we found out that we had actually won the lottery to hike Angel's Landing. We were so excited. It was the perfect way to end our first day in Zion, and technically our last day in Zion as well, which would be the following day. That night we camped at the Smithsonian Butte, which was by far my personal favorite campsite of the whole entire trip. So we're camping all the way down there. I just ran up this hill. And this is what's around us.
What am I gonna do?
I don't know. Pose.
I present you the Zion.
The next day, we were so pumped to hike Angel's Landing. This was the first year they actually started a permit system for this trail. In previous years, since this trail is so popular, it ended up being so overcrowded that it just wasn't enjoyable, so the park enforced this new permit system just starting this year. Before actually getting to the trailhead of Angel's Landing, you actually walk another shorter trail called the West Rim Trail to Scouts Landing. At Scouts Landing, there are park rangers there, just an FYI, in case you try to get risky and try to hike it without a permit. There are park rangers there who do check your ID and make sure that you have a permit there. So be sure to apply for your permit online before trying anything. I didn't capture many hiking clips here because I was so focused on holding on to the chains so I wouldn't fall to my death. It was definitely a bit of a nerve-wracking experience, but so thrilling. Not to mention the winds were super strong this day, so I was holding on for dear life and trying not to get distracted by filming. So sorry about that, friends.
Still a video. About to climb to the top of Angel's Landing. Go. How was it? Yeah.
I think you should go.
Good. Alright, looks terrible. Is this one better? Wait, no! No! Too close. Okay, bye.
You made it.
We made it. And now we're going back. And then we want to go to Oscar's in Springdale for dinner.
Get some nachos and guac.
Woohoo!
We went for dinner at Oscar's, like I said, in Springdale, and it was absolutely delicious. The portions were healthy, and after some shopping in Springdale, we got a head start for our drive back to Las Vegas. Our last campsite was at the Valley of Fire, and it was 1 hour or so away from Vegas to return our van the next day. We had an incredible time exploring the Southwest for the first time together. It was a 10 out of 10. We already can't wait to go back and explore the last 3 national parks in Utah, so be sure to check out my Instagram for more photos and information from our trip. And before flying home, we enjoyed our day in Vegas, gambled $20 away, and went golfing at Topgolf. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you all so much for following along, and if there are any specific questions about our trip, feel free to comment below. Take care and talk to you all soon. Bye.